Well, howdy, folks. It's the 19th Friday of Ordinary Time, and today Jesus is talking about our relationships. He's talking about marriage and celibacy. Number one, he says there's an error. It wasn't an error, but it wasn't the fullness of teaching in the Old Testament. Jesus says in the Old Testament he allowed divorce because of the hardness of your heart, but that's not what God originally had in mind. Marriage is one man, one woman for life. And it degenerated into all kinds of other things. And God even kind of winked and nodded because that's the best he could get out of them. But with Jesus, he's bringing the fullness of righteousness, the fullness of righteousness. And he's saying that you're to be together for life. You give yourself completely to another person in mutual self-giving, in the context of marriage for life, because that's where trust is, and with the possibility of procreation. Those are the three things in traditional Christian teaching about marriage. So one man, one woman, mutual self-giving, not trying to satisfy yourself, and in the context of a committed lifetime relationship of marriage with the possibility of procreation. Wow, easy peasy. There it is. Things don't fall into that. That's not Christian teaching. That rules out a lot of modern sexuality. And the second thing, he says, some have renounced sex for the sake of the kingdom of God. And not everybody can accept this. But a lot of times in American Christianity, that is not considered. I want you to consider young men, young women, and maybe some of you older ones who are widowed or are divorced already. Maybe God is calling you to celibacy, a committed celibacy. God can do wonderful things. God can do wonderful. We have to believe that all things are possible with God. We have to believe that it is possible to be married for life to one person with your soulmate. And we have to believe that we can be celibate for the sake of the kingdom of God. And we can find an intimacy that is even greater than any intimacy we can find on the face of the earth. And lastly, you have to find Jesus as your primary spouse. And now you're free to go out and become who Jesus calls you to be. That's my prayer for you guys. I love you so much. All things are possible with God.